The role of science in a field that is inherently scientific isn't just misguided.
Zach, I really feel like I'm going to have to start charging you steady fees because it's taking up a lot of my time here. Okay, science-backed in dog training. And I'll make this relevant to Robert Cabral's statement that you tend to leave out the relevant parts where he actually does support science, just not your radical ideologic, I almost said idiotic, but science. Okay, 1902, Pavlov discovered classical conditioning. It is scientific as it is based on, and this is a word I used with you in another video because it is lacking and wanted in the studies that your AVASAB references ask for repeatedly for more evidence. Classical conditioning is studying is it based on empirical evidence carried out by a controlled experiment that undeniably proves its existence. That's not in your science. Then we have operant conditioning. Papers here. Okay. The principles of operant conditioning are the fundamentals of learning theory for humans and dogs and are completely scientific. And in Robert Cabral's video, he talks about we need a balance to be fair to our dogs of rewards, corrections, which no one likes corrections, therefore they are inherently an aversive. That does not mean evil or abusive. For operant conditioning to work, it requires a balanced approach to behavioral modification in order for the dog to have all the information required to reach the desired outcome. So again, nowhere does Robert Cabral say that dog training is not founded in science. He's saying it has no place in your fake science. Because with operant conditioning, which is learning theory, classic conditioning, learning theory, that is where it is relevant. What you're citing are behavioral observations from a distance that is based on a biased hypothesis, because that's where science starts, with an opinion and a theory, and then execute it, but you have that bias. And there's no evidence right now to refute because no one has conducted it. It's not because it doesn't exist. And again, we're not talking about tools. We're not talking about dog abuse. That is different. And remember, you are the same coin, just on the other side of your favorite dog daddy. Because you constantly flood dogs. Your puppy inertia. Good Lord, that video at the dog park. If there was ever dog abuse and neglect, you're lucky they don't have laws, because what you expose that poor puppy to, it's a wonder she behaves the way she does. And I'll go back to my favorite shepherd mix with the ill-fitting pink harness and more ill-fitting basket muzzle. That entire time, you were practicing aversive techniques, but you were actually causing the dog mental and emotional fear, intimidation, anxiety. You were causing her fear. She wasn't fearful, but you were causing her to have fear because of your actions. And she finally said, I'm done, and bit you twice. And the only reason it wasn't classified as a true bite is because, thank goodness, she wasn't able to get that basket muzzle off. So for you to sit here and make all of these insidious, ridiculous allegations, and you wonder why dog trainers from all different ideologies and methodologies are coming together against you. This is why. Because you are not here for the dog. You're not here for the dog's well-being, the quality of life that they have. You would rather a dog be put on medications that can alter their behaviors in a very adverse way, or behaviorally euthanize them, which is killing them, because you haven't given behavior modification a true opportunity to work, because you refuse to follow the balance, which actually is very unbalanced. For most trainers, myself, if I'm going to give a correction, it's quick and concise. It doesn't involve pain, intimidation, fear, anxiety, none of that. Flooding. I don't have to flood a dog. It doesn't involve tools. It can be on a leash or off a leash. It doesn't matter. It's just simply a correction. And then I counter it with more lavish and excited rewards. Again, doesn't have to include tools, food, toys. But you don't understand this because you're so linear in your thinking. And I'll repeat it. If your followers don't understand that what you are pushing is a marketing gimmick to raise more income for these academies of dog training schools, they really need to look at a little bit deeper and maybe follow someone that actually understands that when you're in this industry, it should always be for love of the dog. And, the fact that you repeatedly refuse to sit down and talk to Robert Hines. Well, Robert Hines you talked to for a little bit, but he said as soon as you were confronted, you shut down. And that's the thing. You sucker punch and run, because that's what cowardly bullies do. And that's what makes you so insidious and so dangerous to so many dogs and their families, because it doesn't matter to you if the family is told this dog cannot be helped because it doesn't fit within my narrow scope of understanding of how dogs work and how to take something that may not be pleasant, but make it so that it is the least unpleasant as possible. And I'm not talking about abuse or punishment or anxiety or fear, mental, physical, or emotionally. But you don't understand that. You're just, I don't know if it's a TV deal that you're after, or being part of the Cool Kids Club with Karen Pryors, Jean Donaldsons, and Victoria Stilwells. Haven't figured that out. I don't care enough to give it much thought. But to be so disingenuous and to try to paint someone who's worked with more rescue and shelter dogs than you have worked with all dogs is absolutely absurd. But that's what bullies do, isn't it? You push down those above you so that you can feel bigger. I hope this reaches some of your followers, because too many dogs are losing their lives because of you. Have a good day.